Hello, welcome back to another grain to glass video, and this one is my tropical stout. I called it, what did I call this? No Woman, Just Stout, so it's reference there to No Woman, No Cry. But yeah, this is my traditionally brewed tropical stout, so it's not got the new world hops in it. It's got traditional hops. It's actually, I'll let you watch the grain to glass video now, but we've got Aurora hops, so not fancy hops whatsoever. Go and watch that, come back, we'll crack this bottle open.
Hello, welcome back to the channel. So it's another brew day and we've got a tropical stout planned here. I'm aiming for, well, hopefully around about 7% stout. So a tropical stout, a traditional style, not the newer styles which use the sort of like the new wave of new hops. We're going original, and I'm using actually some Slovenian Aurora hops to add a little bit of spice. And yeah, it's going to be fermented with a lager yeast. So I've got my yeast there. There's my Aurora hops. Going to add some Demerara sugar. Traditionally, tropical stouts did have sugars in them. We've got my brewing salts, and this is my grains. Now I've got to get these in the mill and got to crush these yet. But what we've got is pale malt 31%, Marisota 39%. We've got some chocolate malt, that's got to be crushed as you can see, 7%. Flaked oats in here, 7%. Roasted barley, which has already been crushed, 6%. And we've got some crystal malts in here. We've got some double dark, I can't remember, it's crisp maltings. I think it's a double dark crystal. Special B and some medium crystal. So that is my ingredients. It's brew in the bag. What I'm gonna do with these, you'll see, if you're wondering why these dark grains are separate, well, you'll find out why they're separate during the brew day. So yeah, I'm just keeping the roasted barley and the chocolate malt separate for now. So I'm going to get on and start to crush these grains. I'll pop on the screen my ingredients so you can see them. Okay, I need to crack on.
Okay, so we're starting to dough in, so that's a technical term for getting the grain in the kettle, or actually in the mash tun. So yes, like I say, it's going to be a tropical stout. I'll put a description of a tropical stout, but a good example is like Dragon Stout or Jamaica Stout. That's what I'm aiming for. They're like sweeter, but not any lactose, and they're a bit like a milk stout sweetness, but more fruity esters from the yeast. That's the key to it. You don't get the fruitiness from the hops. Originally, you get the fruitiness from the esters of the yeast. So that's why I'm going to use a lager yeast and ferment it warm. So that's the whole point. So yeah, so basically brewed mainly like in the West Indies, that sort of area. So the Demerara sugar will just bring a bit of lightness as well to the body. Roast there, but not like a big on roast, not like any harsh bitterness from the roast. You don't want that because you want to try and get it a little bit sweeter. So yes, I'm going to mash this in around about 69, 60-minute mash, 10-minute mash out, 75, and then it's going to be a 75-minute boil. So I just need to take an example, not an example, a sample, an example. Take a sample now for my pH reading. But as you can see, all my paler malts have gone in here. No dark malts as yet. And there is a reason for that. But I'll come back to that. So I just need to take my sample now from the pH. So there's my sample now for the pH. That's just enough there. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to mash this now. I'm going to put the towels on. It's round about the temperature I want, so I'm happy with that. 69.5 degrees. So like I say, 60-minute mash, 69 Celsius, and I'll come back with the dark grains. Right, I've got 10 minutes left on my mash. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add my dark grains into the mash. And the whole point of this is to reduce any astringency that you could get from the dark grains, which I don't really want. in a tropical stout. So I want the colour and I want some roastiness, but I don't want too much astringency or harshness of bitter notes. So that's the whole point. So I've not done the full 60 minutes with the dark roasted grains. I'm just going to do 10 minutes. First time I've done this, but I've done some research. It may work, may not. I'll only find out when the beer's done, to be honest. But yeah, that's the whole point of me doing this. So I've crushed them grains and I'm putting them in for the last 10 minutes, and I'll take another pH reading now because that will adjust that pH. Right, so mash done, mash out and strain this bag of all that lovely wort. So that's the next step. So I'm going to strain the bag of the wort. Right, so we've reached the boil, so I've got to wait 15 minutes now for my first addition. That'll be a 60-minute addition of Aurora going in. We're looking for about 29 IBUs for the whole recipe, so it's not supposed to be like a overly bitter beer at all anyway. So 15 minutes, then I'll add the first hop addition. Right, Aurora, 60-minute addition, straight in, and then we're going to do 30-minute addition of Aurora next, and that is it for the hops. Aurora, 30-minute addition into the pan. Now just another 30 minutes of boiling and then start to cool. It's that simple, this beer. Hopefully it tastes good as well. So yeah, let's get to the cooling point. I am back. 10-minute the sugar addition. Just whilst we're getting to the end of the boil, so I'll explain what I use these clips for. So if you can see, we're on a stove, so the steam's coming out the back end or coming out of here, so it's not enclosed to steam. I've got a window open from behind, which is helping as well, so it helps with that steam. But these, depending on how the temperature is outside or in the room, I can just basically spin these around a little bit, like this, and it just closes the pan up and I get a bigger boil. Or if I don't want too much of a boil, I can just bring them round and it opens it up, so it just cools the boil down a little bit. So it's basically one way of controlling the boil while you're on the stove. Okay, that's the end of the boil, so I've just got to put this into the cooling pan now and get myself a little sample of the wort just to measure the gravity. But yeah, so really now it's down to the cooling process, and then I can get it in the FV and pitch that yeast. The fun bit of the brew day is giving the kettle a good scrub for next time. So yeah, get stuck in hot water, a little bit of soap, stainless steel wool I think they call it, which is good. You just don't want to put it on the etchings, but the rest of the pan it's good for. Okay, there it is. So we've named this, me and Mrs. B, No Woman, Just Stout. Bit like if you think of the song, No Woman, No Cry. Because it's a Jamaican stout, to be honest. Tropical Jamaican style
stout. Came in at 1.070, the original gravity. I'm going to ferment at 22 degrees with that lager yeast. So hopefully, maybe 5 to 6 weeks, we'll have a grain to glass video and a tasting of this. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be possibly, I don't know, it could be touching 7.5, maybe up to 8, depending on what attenuation to get with that yeast as well. So there it is. That's the wort, hopefully now fermenting, and that yeast doing its job. Hopefully you enjoyed that. So yeah, so this was it was put into keg. Let me just see what I did. Let me just see on here now. So we had a couple of, what did I do here? So I'm trying to look at my notes. So it was brewed on the 28th of May. On the 6th of June, removed from fermentation fridge to room temperature, and then put it back in the fermentation fridge and raised it to 24 degrees, like a diacetyl type rest. And that then was on the 9th of July. It actually went into bottle from the keg, and I put this on a low PSI for 1 week. Let me just see if I put that on it. Actually, 1 week on 20 psi, then a week on 10 psi. So it's not bottle conditioned, it's actually force carbonated. And let's see what it tastes like then. Josh from Simo Sups had one, and it was really overcarbonated. It was crazy overcarbonated. So I don't know if this is going to be the same, but I don't know if he kept it in a too warm a temperature before he put it in the fridge, and then he cooled it down a little bit and then opened it. That could have been it. Could have been too warm, but we'll see. Let's see if this is this going to be fun. Is this going to be coming out of the bottle? Let's see. Nope. There we go. So yeah, I don't know what happened there, Josh. It's still, I mean, to be honest, still a lot of carbonation there, isn't there? I don't like a fizzy stout, even though this is force carbonated. It's still got a little bit, maybe too much carbonation, because that's going to give me a ridiculous size head. I'm pouring it gentle. I may have to try and knock some of that out. Yeah, just look at that. What's going on? Don't like fizzy stouts. I mean, it's not gushing out the bottle like Simo's did, but come on, what's going on? Why that carbonation gone crazy? Smells good. Smells nutty. It's got a nice nuttiness about that of the aroma. A little bit of use of demerara sugar, and we've got a little bit of rum note in there. But decarbonation, I mean, it's fine in there. It's not running around or doing anything daft in there, but I just think it needs to be knocked out a little bit. There you go. Look at that now, because I've done that. Watch. Is it going to come out the top? No, it's not. It's calmed down. But how am I supposed to get the rest of that in a glass? What I'm going to have to do is cut and come back, so you can see the carbonation, that 20 psi and that 10 psi just pushed it a bit too far. So that's the problem with this, but smells great. Slightly overcarbonated. Easy fix though. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so we're back. We've got the dimple pot, so still doing a slow pour. See what I get out of this. Yeah, it's like it's locked in, that carbonation, when I bottled it, because yeah, easy fix though. Still going to get the flavour. Just hate a fizzy stout. And you have a bottled Guinness stout as well. It's always got too much carbonation, and this has got a bit too much carbonation for me. But there we go. There we go. There's the. I mean, this one. It's not even. That isn't a nucleated glass either. But we've got it in the old dimple. Going to get a bit more in that, so it looks like I've got a full pint ish. I don't know. Let's go for it. Yeah. So, what's wrong with this brew? What's wrong with this brew was the carbonation. But apart from that
That looks all right, doesn't it? Looks like a stout. The whole point of it was to be like a, like I say, a tropical stout, but brewed the traditional way, and that's what I did. And yeah, it's I've had it a few times, and it's really nice. It's got nice, subtle coffee notes. I'm getting a nuttiness about it. I'm getting like that Demerara sugar has brought like a rumminess to it, if that's a word, a rumminess. But it smells good. It's just a shame about the carbonation on this. That's an easy fix. I'm not worried about it whatsoever. Okay, let's get into it. Looks fantastic. Cheers. Taste is there. So there is a sweetness there. There's that rum note there. There's a lovely licorice, slight roastiness, a little bit bitterness, and then it's a little bit drying. It's brewed with a lager yeast as well. I wonder if that's why it's done the... No, it's not. It's been forced carbonated. And it's... The body is quite... How can I put it? It starts off medium, and then it dries your palate, really drying actually, which makes it then quite... There's a carbonation. Get back to that. Drying, then it brings it back, and it's quite refreshing. And that sounds crazy for a stout, but it's a Jamaican stout, and that hot weather, you do want something refreshing. And believe me, a stout can be refreshing. I'm not going mad, but a stout can be refreshing, and that is. And I'm pleased with that because the flavours are pretty much spot on. If you think of the beer, Jamaican stout, is it Dragon Stout? Is that the one you can get? I think the one you can get. It's sort of loosely based on that sort of style. That's what you... So like I say, you're not getting tropical notes from hops. That is not the plan on this. It's more about sweet, refreshing. It's got that slight rumminess from that sugar. It's got the slight bitterness. It's got that coffee, that chocolate, dark roast. It's got lots going on. That's nice. Yeah. So once you get past that carbonation, that's a lovely little stout. It really, really is. I'd brew that again. And next time, that 20 psi for that first week, too much. 10 psi, 2 weeks. Fix that problem. Okay, so there we go. That's the No Woman, Just Stout, 6.5% homebrew. Ask me any questions. If you want to know anything about this brew, it's my brew. I can answer anything at all about that. But yeah, I'm enjoying that. Can I get the rest of that in there? Let's see. There it goes. Let's just leave that creamy head that came out in the glass. But it's sticking around. Sticking around. Happy with that. Really, really am. Okay. Thanks for watching. Cheers. And I'll see you on another one.